Hey everyone, it's Whitney. Welcome to today's video. I wanted to make a little video giving you an update on some of the previous garden videos that I've made. I wanted to show you the outcome of some of the stuff that I've been working on. I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a mini garden tour because the tulips are just starting to get past their peak, and I wanted to show you some of my favorite bulbs that I got from my previous bulb haul. It is starting to rain, my hair is getting all frizzy, but that's okay, it's springtime. If you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Whitney and I help you DIY a cozy home and garden through DIY thrift flips, home projects, home product review, and some beginner gardening tips. Okay, let's get into this video. These tulips are the Sorbetto blend from Colorblends. A couple of them are on their last leg, but they're still looking really pretty. These yellow ones with a little bit of pink on the outside are just so precious. And I love this pink peachy coral tulip as well. There's a couple alliums that are getting ready to open. I think these look great right here, and I can't wait to add more. This is one of the double daffodils from Michigan Bulb. So pretty. I just love the ivory and the peach. It's so sweet, perfect for spring. So this tree is really unique. It's actually two trees, and if anybody knows what they are, let me know in the comments below. These are the blooms on the one, and these are the blooms on the other one. Like the one tree is growing out of the other tree. So it's really pretty. I just have no idea what it is. My tulip magnolias are just about done blooming. I love the blooms on these things, but it very quickly litters the driveway. I'm pretty sure that this is the Tulip Angelique or Tulip Angelic from Eden Brothers. This is another one. This is part of the Sorbetto blend. I'm pretty sure this one was part of the Eden Brothers double pink bunch. So I had a really hard time with rabbits and deer eating my tulips, but I used some of this like powder stuff. It was like garlic powder. Let me show it to you. I used this stuff. It's the Bondi Repels All, and it did really repel everything. It kept everything away after I spread it around. The active ingredients seem like it's not chemicals, so that's good. Remember when we started all of those seeds in these little containers? Look at how big everything is getting. I am so excited to plant all of this in the garden. We've got tomatoes, some dinosaur kale, some cauliflower, and some broccoli in here. Now, I should have gotten the cauliflower and broccoli planted out in the garden a little bit earlier, but it is what it is. There's more cauliflower, more kale, some snapdragons, and more maters. This is the first year I've started melons and squash indoor from seed. I normally put it outside directly in the garden, but I wanted to get a jump start on it. I gotta look at my 10-day forecast and make sure we're not dipping down below into the low 30s, but I'm pretty sure I can plant these out. All right, let's look at the results of our winter seed sowing project. There's a couple that didn't germinate. This is a marigold. There's quite a few that have some nice growth in there, so let's pop these open and see what happened. We got one decent looking marigold in there. We have one zinnia fruit smoothie. There's a whole bunch of foxgloves. We got a whole bunch of alyssum going on in here. How exciting is that? We got quite a few Hungarian blue poppies. So out of 18 jugs, we only have 2 that didn't germinate or do anything. This was a marigold, this was a zinnia, and these are some zinnias. These are like the least germinated of the bunch. There's only one in here, one in here, one in there, and 2 in here. So the zinnias had probably the hardest time germinating. These are some Canterbury bells. This looks really dry. Just so you know, I have not watered these at all. I just kind of let the rain or the snow be the dictator of what happens, and they're all looking pretty good. This zinnia is a little dry. The Canterbury bells over here are a little dry, but everything else looks pretty good for, you know, just doing it and then forgetting about it. Got some foxglove. The delphiniums had a really hard time. Poppies are looking good. This is the California poppy, and these are Hungarian blue poppies. We got 1 marigold. Nope. We got 5 marigolds. English daisies look great, and the alyssum looks fantastic as well. Alyssum is honestly some of the easiest things you can grow. I'm going to show you some golden alyssum. That's a perennial here in just a second, but I'm really happy with this project. I would highly recommend you guys doing something like this. I swear it never fails. Every time I film outside, my entire neighborhood decides to mow their yard. What is going on? So this is that golden alyssum I was just talking about, you guys. These took off. They are taking over this planter box. I think I need to transplant them out of here because they are starting to crowd out everything else that's in here. Oh, look, I got one sweet pea coming up. And these are mums from the fall. I just let them stay in there because I didn't know if they were gonna overwinter, and they did. I got a couple of them. So fall, we'll have some built-in mums. This golden alyssum is so pretty. Yellow is one of my favorite colors, but I gotta get them out of this container because they are crowding everything else out. If you remember, I built these planter boxes last year and they have held up really, really nicely for me. I love them. I'll link that video up in the eye and down below if you want to check it out. Super sturdy, looks great, love it, definitely do it. Love how this project turned out. Let's go to the garden. I'm gonna show you a few things in there and we're gonna plant some stuff today. So this is Plant Tone. I swear by this stuff. You just sprinkle a little bit of this into your soil or your compost when you're planting and it really does help fertilize the plants. I can totally tell a difference when I use this stuff. Miracle Grow all-purpose plant food just is like my regular fertilizer. Definitely fertilize your seedlings once they get their second set of leaves, like their true leaves. They need some food. And then sometimes I use this bone meal stuff, but I definitely think Plant Tone is awesome. I was really surprised by these violas because I didn't have any luck last year with them germinating, but they're looking good. There's a couple snapdragons in there that don't look so great, but I'm happy with these. I just bought myself a new little bag with some new tools because everything else I had was broken. So we're gonna take this to the garden with us. I built this garden last spring and I really should have made a video on it, but I was kind of behind the 8 ball and I just needed to get it done so I could get some plants in the ground. But I love this garden. It was able to feed me and my family this past year, and I planted all of these tulips in the fall because I wanted it to have like a sweet little kind of whimsical vibe. Eventually this will kind of turn into like a cottage garden, but in a couple more years I'll be able to keep adding and fill it out so it looks like a cottage garden. But right now we have a lot of tulips. The alliums are going to be coming up, so once the tulips are done, the alliums will be there. I just planted, these are some snapdragons that I started from seed in my previous video. I got a lot of these tulips just from Walmart. They had a pack of like 16 for 10 bucks or something like that, and they look great. They're doing great. I think they're a fantastic option if you didn't want to spend on like specialty bulbs. Ones from Walmart work just as well. I also got some zinnias in there that I started from seed. So the zinnias, the snapdragon, and the alliums will be the color once these tulips are done. Sprinkled some of that repels all around here, and it has definitely kept everything away from eating all my tulips. But the crazy thing is, these are snapdragons I just planted. These are snapdragons from last year. Now snapdragons are annuals, but for some reason, a few of my old snapdragon plants came back, which is crazy. I'm in a zone 6A and they're not supposed to be able to survive. And we had like 3 feet of snow at one time here, so I don't know how the heck those survived, but they did. And we got some more zinnias that will come up once these guys say goodbye. So let's talk about the construction of the actual garden itself. Now, all of this fencing is reclaimed fencing. It's plastic. There was a pool here at the house previously. It was filled in, but all of this plastic fencing that went around the pool was just kind of like stashed away behind an old outbuilding. So we were going to throw it away, but I was like, you know what? Let's just build a garden out of it. Some of these pieces were sitting under a tree that had a ton of sap coming out of it. So this is all tree sap. So I have got to figure out how to get that off of here. So for each of the larger 4x4 posts, I dug out enough room to fit like a 2-hole cinder block. And then I put the 4x4 posts in. You can see there's a crack right here. That's a 4x4. I put the 4x4 post in the ground, and then I attached my fencing. And then once my fencing was attached, I concreted in the post because I didn't want to concrete in the post first and then not have enough room for the fencing on the inside. And then on the inside of this long part is a 2x3 that I just attached to the post sleeve with like a little L bracket thing on the top and on the bottom, and everything has stayed. It works well. But the crazy thing is, from this front post here to the height of that post there, it drops down 18 inches. So for each section of fence, I dropped it down on the left side about, I think it was like 1.5 inches, and I was able to kind of make up that difference. And from a distance, you can't really tell. It looks kind of natural. It looks like it's going with the landscape, but it doesn't look like, whoa, sunken on the left. And then in the front, I just dry stacked some bricks on top of each other and put a potted tree in the middle. I think this is called a green giant, like a cypress tree. I am eventually going to transplant these trees out into the landscape, and I gotta move these guys because they're taking over everything. One of my favorite parts about the garden is this arbor that I got on Facebook Marketplace from a chick in Brooklyn. And I don't know if she stole it or if she bought it, but I bought it from her for like 50 bucks and I love this thing. And these are some tall sweet peas that will vine all the way up this. They get about 12 feet tall, so they'll cover this whole thing. It's gonna be so pretty and smell so yummy. And these are the little garden markers we made, what was it, last week, the week before? One of you asked how I managed to keep rabbits out of my garden. So on the inside of this pool fencing, I just screwed on some of this hardware cloth. I've been calling it rabbit hutch mesh. It's hardware cloth. Chicken wire is a little bit too big. You want something that like your finger can't fit through, tiny little mesh like this. So I screwed it to the inside, put it down, and then I put it underneath the fence. So it goes down and underneath, and I buried it about 6 inches down and about a foot out. So if anything is on the outside and tries to burrow down and get in, they can't. They're stopped by the hardware cloth that's down about 6 inches and out about a foot. So this is the method that I have used to keep out rabbits, and it has worked for me. So give this a shot. This was also on the property. It was salvage leftover, so it's not the prettiest, but it was free and it works. My radishes are coming up. My peas are coming up. We got carrots here. We got more radishes here. These are turnips, I think. I forgot what I planted there, and we got more carrots here. This is kind of like the salad mix planter bed, if you will. We got some romaine, we got some kale, we got some Swiss chard. I direct seeded some Swiss chard over here, but nothing germinated. I think these were older seeds, but we got some coming up over there. I also started some from seed inside that we're going to transplant here today. That's arugula and that's spinach. And all my little onions, and that was an onion from last year that just regrew, so I'm just letting it go. And this, I don't know what this is. A packet of seeds fell over as I was planting out here. I'm guessing it's radishes. But I'm just gonna let it grow and see what happens. Over here, I got my little cabbages. There's early cabbage, and then there's some Dutch cabbage. Strawberries, man, they like to go wherever the heck they wanna go. I had them all in here. Now they are somehow, they transplanted themselves onto the floor, and then they're over here too. This circle-tiered garden is so pretty, but the metal base that it sat on rusted and fell over. It actually crashed on top of me. So I have to build a new base for this. I think what I'm going to do is build another one of these planters. So there's one here, and then there's this big one back here. I think I'm going to build another one in the middle, and that's what my squash and zucchini is going to go in. So I got to figure out where to put this and how to build a base for it. But I think I'm just going to build another one of these in the middle because it gives me more planting space. I hope you guys know that I am not an expert gardener. I'm a beginner gardener. I just love sharing the process with you and sharing what I'm learning with you to hopefully encourage you to start growing your own stuff and just share the enjoyment that I get out of growing flowers and food. So I'm not an expert. Please don't judge me. You see that cardinal? This is some of that plant tone. I'm just gonna kind of sprinkle it around and then mix it into the soil. This stuff is really stinky, so wear gloves. Look, this is the root ball from that giant sunflower last year. That sunflower that was like 16 feet tall. That's the root ball. It's like a tree. Look at it. Holy cow. All right, so garden is looking good. Got all of my like cold hardy things transplanted. I'm so excited. Things are starting to get established and kind of fill out a little bit, which is super exciting. So I have things planted pretty densely. I don't really follow the directions when it says to plant things 18 inches apart. I don't have the space to do that, so they get 8 inches apart. So I had pretty good success with that method last year. We're trying it again this year. Again, I'm still learning. Thank you for joining me on my journey of being a new gardener and eventually a homesteader. If you guys like videos like this, give it a big thumbs up. Consider subscribing. I would love to have you join me here on this channel. I kind of bounce around all over the place, but right now we're at the farm. Sometimes we're in New York City. So subscribe, hang out, and I will see you guys on the next one. Okay, bye. Hi, I just got done filming. Perfect. And I'm just got done in the garden. Okay, bye guys. I'll see you next time.